do you ever sit down to write about your products and think, ugh, this needs more pizzazz? Then you absolutely need today's Talk Shop Tuesday guest in your corner. I'm Marisa Corcoran. You're inside the Commerce Collab Facebook group for yet another Talk Shop Tuesday, where most weeks I bring you the best of what's working in e-commerce and product-based businesses, the strategies to scale your shop, sanity fully intact. So before we get rolling and talking with this awesome guest that I have today, I cannot wait for you to meet her, who's joining us. Just pop a hello into the comments right now so I can say hi and we can talk. Today we have, like I said, really special guest, my good friend, Marisa Corcoran. She's going to be giving you actionable tips to make your words stand out above the noise. And if her name sounds familiar and you can't quite place why, it might be because Marisa interviewed me on the first season of the Commerce Collab, or you might have also heard about her because she has her own amazing masterclass series, The Copy Chat. Marisa, welcome. Like I said, I'm so excited to have you here. It's just an honor to talk with you today.
Oh, Reese, it's just so fun to be here with you. As we always say, like, also we have the same name. So there's always that. And it's just always such a pleasure to hang out with you. Thanks for having me.
And I'll give people a quick background on this. Marisa and I basically have flip-flopped in names. So when Marisa was growing up, she was called Reese. And when I was growing up, I was called Marisa. And Marisa, if I remember right, when you were in the acting world, they said to you, you can't go by Reese because that thing's already taken by Reese Witherspoon.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you went back to Marisa, which was not really what you were called a lot growing up. And I went to Reese because I thought Marisa would be way too hard.
It is.
For people to find in search engines. It is.
It is. And it's hard for people to say, and they always say it wrong. Someone the other day I can't remember. Oh, I was on the phone. I had to return something. And they were saying, they transferred me. And they're like, oh, is this Marisa? Am I speaking with Marisa or Marcia? I'm like, it's Marisa, like Lisa. It's not. So, but yeah,
it's not complicated.
It's not complicated. I was called Reese my whole life growing up, but my family and my uncles would call me Reese. They still do. So yeah, but Reese Witherspoon kind of, when I was an actor, we'll let her have it. We'll let Reese Witherspoon have it, which I think her name is Elizabeth.
What's that?
I think her given name is Elizabeth.
Really?
I think someone look it up and come tell me, but I think it's Elizabeth. And she went, and Reese was like a nickname, I think. Yeah.
Okay. I don't get the leap from Elizabeth to
I don't either. We'll have to Wikipedia it. I don't know, but I think so. Something like that.
Well, we have a lot of people joining us today, and Adriana is saying she loves your glasses, Marisa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. They're Diff eyewear. And what I love about Diff is that for every pair that you buy, they donate a pair of glasses to someone who needs them, which is really cool.
That is very cool. Yeah. Nice. So the next time I need eyewear, I should go look there.
Yeah, check out Diff. Yep.
Tracy is saying your hair looks fabulous.
Thank you, Tracy. I know if you're part of the coffee chat, you see I go live like you, Reese, a lot in the group. And so people have seen my hair evolution because my hair was super short and now I'm growing it really long. But I'm starting to grow. I don't know if you feel this way, Reese. You get long and then I get this urge to just get rid of it all because I forgot. And I feel black. I know there's a lot of people who struggle to grow their hair. So I understand this is a first world problem, but it just gets so I forgot how much hair I have. I forgot how Italian I am. And I'm like, this is a lot of hair. It's a lot.
I don't have the Italian hair thing. Like it's not so much that it's a struggle for me to grow my hair, but because of all my thyroid crap, my hair just is scraggly. So I have reached that point where later this week, I'm getting it chopped into a lob because I'm done with the length. I've reached that point. It's just, I grew it forever. I had a goal. I met my goal and now I'm like, the goal's done.
I know. I get that. Yeah. I'm on my way to the goal. My goal is to I want to see if I can get like Joanna Gaines level, like cover my boobs basically. And then we'll see how it goes after that.
Oh my God. I need to keep an eye out on your hair progress then.
Clock it. Let me know what you think. But yeah, it's so long.
Sabrina informs us she went off like a good little researcher she is. She's in my group and I'm not remotely surprised Sabrina went to do this. She says that IMDb says Laura Jean Reese
Oh,
Witherspoon is her birth name. Laura.
there you go. It's Laura. Okay, great. But I knew, okay, I don't know where I got Elizabeth from, but I was correct that it's not, she wasn't, her given name is not Reese. It's Laura, Laura Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy, thanks for the empathy. Yep, it is
Mhm.
frustrating. Tracy has thyroid hair too. So, all right, Marisa, one of the things that I think is really incredible and unique about you, and that you have modeled for me in my business and you've modeled for so many other people, is your gift at making people feel not just instantly connected to you, but really making them feel special. And so we're gonna a little later today talk about how this audience can bring in some of that charisma into their business, whether they feel as charismatic as you or not. It can be done. I say this as full out introvert. So before we get there, though, I would love to start out with a question for you, which is basically, I think, and I'm curious what you think too, writing copy for a lot of this audience, they're writing about their products, or sometimes they might be writing about themselves. It's so hard. It's even hard with a lot of the service-based businesses you work with. Why do you think this is so difficult for people? What do you think's going on?
Oh, this is such a good, like the million dollar question. I actually think that there are kind of, it's almost like three things going on at once. And we can think of it, for me to remember it, if anyone asks me this or I talk about it, it's kind of like a PM. So it's like two P's and an M, like the PM, kind of the way that I think about it. And I think what makes it hard for people, that first P, is just number one, that perfectionism, that feeling like everything I put out there has to be perfect. It has to be, and especially for so many of us, if you're a product-based business or service-based business, it's likely that you are a creative person, and so you have these high standards for yourself, and you want everything that you put out there to be perfect. And so that will prevent people from what I talk about, like you stay in your copy cave, because you're like, if it's not exactly where I need it to be, then it's not ready. And this is probably the number one kind of gremlin that stops us. And I don't say this like, oh, I'm on the other side of it. It's something that I wrestle with all the time. But I think you just need to know that and go, okay, I know we talk about in the Copy Confidence Society, one of the first things that we have people do is like sign almost like this little clause for themselves, like the non-perfectionism clause. That's what we call it. To just give yourself permission before you even go into any of the modules, look at anything, that you're going to do this, like kind of take off your perfectionism cloak. And just remember that you're not a unicorn here. Everybody feels this way. So that's number one. The second P to that is personality, meaning that most of the time people are writing or talking about themselves or doing it. And we all, you can kind of sound like a robot. And that's not your fault if you feel this way. It's because online we've kind of been conditioned to look and sound the same. So if you look at another business, you're like, oh, well, that works for them. That'll work for me. But you don't actually take time to understand what your brand personality is. So so you'll jump, so that you already have the perfectionism like on you. And then you don't exactly take the time to know what your personality is, or you don't think that your personality, here's another P, is professional enough. So everybody just kind of looks and sounds the same, and it kind of feels static, like staticky, or kind of that robot feeling. So this is also something why I always talk about starting with yourself. So in the society, we do it through uncovering your copy star and who your copy star is. And you can be a combo as well. So when you uncover, it's taken from the acting world. So when I was an actor, you would kind of have a meeting like in grad school before we were going out for auditions. And I got like my agent and my manager of like what your type was. And in the actor world, like there's these phrases like you could be the leading lady, or you could be the girl next door, the femme fatale. And like you want to make sure that your photos, your monologues, what you're choosing really has the essence or that vibe that you have, so that you're actually called in for roles that are right for you. You're not being miscast into things. And I realized that the same way we do that in acting, you can do that for your copy. So we've developed like 5 copy stars. You can be the hooker with a heart of gold, the nerdtastic leader, the quirky misfit. You can be a combo. And the whole point is to have a barometer to go, oh, okay, because if I'm the hooker with a heart of gold, I have a more direct kind of sassy way. And then I can use that to go through my copy and look at how my copy, well, that isn't how the hooker with a heart of gold would say that. That feels how, someone else. And it helps you not mimic what you're seeing. It helps you actually stand out as yourself. So I think that perfectionism and the personality or the lacking of personality is huge.
Yeah.
And that connects to the M, which is messaging, which is it doesn't matter how fun your copy is. I can give you copy tips all day long, but if you don't, the best copy can't fix a muddied message. So if you don't have a clear message of what, even as you asked me about these diff eyeglasses, it was simple for me to basically give you their messaging, which is like when you see, like, it's something like we help like the world see, like it's clear of what they do. They now, and it makes it easy for me if someone asks me about my eyeglasses to what we talk about in the society a lot, which is these 3 R's, unlocking the 3 R's that people will remember you, rave about you, and refer you. So if you have that clear messaging and you can understand what your brand personality is, that combo can help you like release or, take off the perfectionism cloak a little bit. You'll likely always have it. I'm sure you do, Reese, because I have it still.
Oh, huge. People are always surprised. Like in my group when I'll share, oh, it takes me 3 hours to write an email. And they feel much better because they thought they were the only ones, and that what they read from me from the outside looking in looks like it came out with such ease. And I'm like, no, it was like pulling out my teeth. And I don't think it reads and flows the way you're thinking it reads and flows. So I think it's really cool when you talk about this is something we all suffer from. And I really am curious for people watching now, can you relate to the perfectionism, especially, I think more than anything else? And then also struggling with what is your personality in your copy, and then what's your core messaging? Can you relate to those? Just let us know in the chat. I really love what you broke down there though, Marisa, and especially your framework with your leading, help me, I like my words, they're gone
The
today.
copy star?
The copy star, thank you. It used to
copy
be
star.
leading lady, it evolved to
Yep.
the copy star. I love that, Marisa, because this is one of your other gifts, is taking things that we may read about or learn in marketing that are kind of like snoozers, they'll put us to sleep, and then you will take and design it in a way that really makes it more fun, more approachable, not quite so stodgy. So I think that's a really cool thing that you offer inside that group.
Yeah. And I also think like that's me using my copy star, like my barometer, which is going to be different from other people. Like if I'm the hooker with a heart of gold, which I am, it's not my goal to have a world of hooker with a heart of gold. That would be like Arkham. That would be a little bit wild. So it's really, I mean, everybody has so if you are the nerdtastic leader, let's say, and you're great at taking really complex things and breaking them down simply, like, is that in your copy? Is that there? Is that clear? So it's uncovering who you are in putting that into your copy, into your messaging. But if we just say, oh, go out and be yourself, that can be a little bit like, well, what, I don't even know. Because a lot of times in our business, we're disconnected from who we are outside of our business. We think that those are separate things. And there's actually a lot. And everybody's going to have a different barometer, but there's a lot that actually bleeds together. And there's a lot of things that who you are that can be brought into your brand that you're likely missing a little bit.
I think too, what this touches upon at a deeper level is really a lot of mindset work, and underlying all the challenges I think that people have with their copy and messaging is that struggle about being comfortable with who you are, and then where is the line between who you are as a person and what you bring into your business, especially I think when we're talking about a product-based business versus a service-based business where we have a coach or someone who is really marketing on the brand of themselves. When you have a product business, I think that the challenge gets even deeper. The mindset stuff gets harder. Where do I end? Where does my business begin? How much of that do I bring into my messaging and my copy? And so I think it really overwhelms people.
Yeah. And I think that there is room, a lot of the brands that I love that are product based, I feel like they don't forget in these kind of micro pieces of copy to bring that personality in, whatever it is, but to bring it in. For example, I love Book of the Month. Book of the Month is like my new favorite thing. I started it last year. I went from reading like no books. And when I end this year, I will have read 33 novels this year, which is major. And I got an ad for book of the month last year. It was like, I was speaking about, I need to read more, and it just appeared. And I love when you get the box every month with your book. When you open it up, it'll say like, you have great taste. And then they give you a bookmark each month that goes with your book. And, you know, it'll have like really fun things like on the bookmark, you know? So I love that. And if I've given it as a gift for people, like I just gave it as a prize to somebody in the Coffee Confidence Society, when I sent them the email to redeem it, when they redeemed it, Book of the Month Club sent me an email, and it said something like, I wrote it down. It said the subject line was, "Oh my God, thank you so much," like in quotes. And then when I clicked it, it's like, oh, well, that's what, and they put the person's name in that I gifted it to. That's what so-and-so is going to say when they get this gift. And then when they redeemed it, they were like, okay, this person redeemed it, best gift ever. And then they put, well, we can't confirm that they said the last part. Like there was just like, there's these little like micro moments of personality that make me remember Book of the Month, that make me chuckle, that make me, you know, so they've definitely taken time to think about what that brand personality is.
Yes. And I love that you brought up microcopy and these specific examples, like the bookmark or maybe a subject line. What I think people can do, and we can talk about this a little bit more in my next question, but as you're saying this, my wheels are turning, because I think microcopy is a great opportunity for people to take some risks that might feel they don't want to necessarily bring all this personality into their messaging out of the gate, which I get. So you can start to take some, not risks, but to inject your personality in these smaller ways. Could it be in your unboxing experience, right? Like when they open the box and you have something printed on the inside and it's like, oh my God, you're amazing. Or you could start, I'm thinking, Marisa, and maybe you have some ideas too, but I think you could start to keep a list of things that maybe you think in your head, or you say to your husband, or just like isms that are you, and you could bring them in to these little micro copy experiences, a subject line, unboxing, a bookmark. But with that in mind, like I'd love to know what you think about that, or if you have some other tips and tricks that people could use right away to make their copy feel a little less stuck and stuffy.
Yeah, that's what you just said. So we do this thing in the society called the word closet. It's one of the very first things that you do. So if you were going to do a photo shoot, it's likely that a photographer or somebody, a stylist that you were working with, is going to say, okay, Reese, I want you to just do me a favor, go in your closet and just let me know, what are the colors that you gravitate towards, the patterns, you know, are you more solid patterns? Do you do like florals? What colors do you do? You'll be able to look at your closet and kind of know your go-to colors, which mine are black and red. Normally black and red. And I don't wear prints. I don't really like prints. So I'm like black or red solid.
Wait, stop. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you, because you had these boots that were leopard print, brown and black. Remember those?
I do love leopard. Yeah, no, I wear them all. Those are my favorite boots.
And leopard print glasses.
Yep. And yeah, they're like the purple. Yeah. So I do love leopard. That's like the only print, but I'm not going to be like in polka dots or like a floral shirt. So the only print I really wear, actually, just to help me understand this, add this to my style closet, is leopard.
We just up-leveled your style a little bit.
So you find this out, actually. So you can do the same thing for your copy. So there's 3 ways that you can uncover your word closet. Number 1 is just to think for yourself, is to go, okay, what are the words and things that I say all the time? And a great way to do this is to look back at text messages or emails that you have with close people that you love. So not outside of your business, the way that you text people or the way that you respond. If someone sends you a really cute photo of their kid or something, how do you respond to that? Like, what are your go-to words and phrases? How do you comment under somebody's social media, somebody that you love or admire? Number 2 is to do what you just did, Reese, which is to ask people or have this conversation so someone could go, oh, well, you love leopard, Marisa. So someone could say, oh, and people have done this to me before, where they'll go, oh, well, Marisa, you know, you always say jazzed. And I was like, I do? I was like, okay, well, I'm going to add that to my word closet. And then a third thing is, if you're a parent, is actually listening to what your kids say back to you. Because we are on our curriculum specialist that we hired to go through the society with us, Cassie. This actually came from her when she was helping me put this kind of word closet lesson together. She was like, you know what I was thinking is, my son will say such and such back to me. And my husband, I was like, where did he get that? My husband's like, oh, you say that all the time. So if you have a kid, it's likely that they're kind of mimicking you, and you can uncover your word closet that way. And then you can look at the word closet. So if you have one of those emails, which is like, hey, this is being delivered to your doorstep, instead of having that, how could you jazz that email up a little bit with something that you might say, you know, or things that you love. So for example, when somebody comes into our community, the very first email that they get, instead of just being like, dear, like, or welcome, Reese, it says, holy white chocolate covered Oreos at Christmas, because I love white chocolate covered Oreos. And when I was a kid, they only came out once a year at Kmart, the white chocolate covered Oreos. So that's how I greet people, holy white chocolate covered Oreos at Christmas, Reese, or I'll say holy new episode of The Real Housewives in another one, because I love The Real Housewives. So ways that like your word closet and like those motifs, that we call them like your motifs, can be blended together. And I can say more about the motifs if that's helpful, because I know what happens with people. So they're like, well, I'm uninteresting. I don't have anything interesting about me. I don't have any motifs. And I'm here to tell you, like, I bet my student loan on it. And my student loan is a lot. It's $178,000 that you just don't take time. That's where the perfectionism comes in. We don't take time to think about the little kind of slice of life, everyday moments as being things like white chocolate covered Oreos is not anything, you know, earth shattering. So it's actually asking yourself, like, when you're thinking about your motifs or the fun little things about you, is, you know, even asking, where can we find you on a Saturday morning? You know, what are you up to? You know, when you go to shut your laptop down, what's the first thing that you do? Do you watch TV? Do you read? You know, what do you do? What's your go-to drink? You know, and starting to think of where those things could then be seeded into these micro pieces of copy.
That's great, because it kind of answers some of the chittering we have in the comments. That would be a motif for me. I use the word chittering. I'm writing this down.
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
first of all, Tracy Manning is basically saying she's working on getting clearer for her jewelry message, but she's struggling because she feels like she's not good at telling people her opinion on something, because her whole DNA is not really caring about other people's opinion. And I just want to say, Tracy, like, soul sister here, I can relate. However, I'm thinking that if you just took what Marisa was talking about and started to either think or talk with people in your life, I just used the word chittering. So I wrote it down, because it's, who the hell uses the word chittering? Well, I do. Well, why?
Research.
Because I watched this cartoon called Mulan. Like, you go down this rabbit hole, right? So you can
Yep.
do this and start to make your word closet, Tracy, and then bring that in to give more pizzazz to your words and to your brand. And then Sabrina says she feels like there's nothing special about her, but she loves this conversation between us because it's making her think quite a bit. She thinks she's not special, but her product is. But then Sabrina says, she asks, is me saying y'all, the word, example of microcopy that shows my personality? Because that does happen. And I would say, Sabrina, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bring y'all
100%.
in.
Yeah. And so that's just a different way to start these little pieces of microcopy that just give this flavor. Like, it just humanizes everything. It brings in that personality. I love that you said that, Sabrina, because it doesn't, again, need to be these earth shattering things. That's the other thing. If I say, oh, go do your word closet, people think they have to have like the coolest words ever. No, they just have to be true to what you are. That's the whole point, or that go along with the brand personality that you want to create, which might be a little bit different than you as well. It might be a little elevated. It might be a little bit different. So if it feels true for the brand personality, then yeah, definitely. It just helps it not sound like everyone else's, of those micro pieces of copy that they might receive.
I'm glad too that you just brought up elevated, because it speaks to a question Adriana asked earlier, and I think is useful. She was talking about video, and her question, I'm just going to scroll back and look. It was basically on video, someone needs to exaggerate a bit, because what sounds good in interpersonal communications may be too muted on video. She's asking if we agree. And I would say, yeah, part of what I struggle with in video is I feel like I need to be a more turned on version of myself. And I'm not usually so, like, I don't usually have this level of energy, but I will bring it to video so that it's not a muted experience for you guys. What about you, Marisa?
That's a good question. I think I'm always like this. but I think that that's me. So I think sometimes I have to like tone it back a little bit because like I use my hands a lot. And sometimes I'll go back and I'll look at video and I'm like, okay, I don't need to be like doing
You're the
this.
Swedish chef, basically.
Yeah, I am. I'm like, I don't need to be doing that so much. Um, but for me, yeah, and there's certain things that I will put on or I will do to get myself in the mode. So, if you're a fan of Beyonce, which is like, who isn't? Beyonce will talk about how before she goes on stage, she has this jacket that she puts on, like a physical piece of clothing and that's her like alter ego, Sasha Fierce. And she needs Sasha Fierce to like get through that first number. And then if you watch Conscious of Beyonce, at least she was doing this a while ago. I don't know if she's still doing this. Like she'll take off the jacket. Now she's like in it, or she could keep it on. So for me, and I feel really sad about this, but I lost them. One fell off. I always wear my love hoops, my big gold love hoops, but I lost one. So just about 2 weeks ago, which I'm really sad about. But if I'm going to go live, I will put these glasses on. I will actually put a physical piece of something on that gets me into that mode, that gives me a little bit more boost of confidence to go live or be on video or do what I need to do. Yeah.
The other thing I love about that, Marisa, is it gives you the boost of confidence. And then if you do it consistently, it's kind of writing that neural pattern in your brain of, all right, we're shifting modes now. Like I love creating triggers in our life to help us understand what comes next. So it can also over time create that subconscious trigger for you. And it becomes more and more natural over time, I think, when you just always, the glasses are on or whatever it is for you.
Yep. Yeah. It helps me be like, okay, I'm in this mode now for a little bit.
So when we are thinking about email, we're going to shift here a little bit from broad copy to emails, because emails are something that people they struggle with. And one of the things that you are a master at, in addition to everything you've just talked about, is finding these little stories to bring into an email. And I'm thinking, just based on what Tracy has said here, or even Adriana at times, they might be thinking, well, there's nothing in my life, or there might not be much in my life that could be turned into an email. And I think that you have a completely different take on this. Tell us, like, how do you find these stories and what could go into an email?
100%. So again, I would bet my student loan on this. So I could tell you all day the stories that I use or where I find them from, but I know that people will be sitting out there and going, okay, well, that's you. This is what you do all day. So like, how would I be able to do this? So I actually want to give you an example. So this is recent. A few weeks ago, I was guest teaching inside of another person's community, teaching about the copy stars. And we kind of went around, it was an intimate group, and sharing a little bit about those motifs. Where could we find you on a Saturday morning? What are you up to on the weekend? Like these different questions to just like think a little bit about these out, get those creative juices flowing. And somebody kind of put themselves in the hot seat, like volunteered to share theirs and said, well, I don't have anything like that I would connect back, that I could connect back. And I was like, okay, I love this challenge. Cause I'm like, all right, so what did you answer the question? So where can we find you on a weekend? And this person shared that, oh, they really love NASCAR. They're like really into NASCAR. And I was like, really? I don't know anything about NASCAR. I'm like, okay, so tell me about NASCAR. And they started describing how, what they love about it, that there's like the pit crew. And then there's like somebody, and I don't even know, I'm going to butcher this. So if you love NASCAR, I'm sorry. But like somebody like sits up above and like there's the driver has like an earpiece and they're like giving them the scoop, like guiding them along. And this person is a coach for people. So this is like a service-based example, but like a coach. And I said, well, when you're working with your people, do you ever feel like maybe you're that person in the booth that's like helping them as they go around the track? And she's like, yeah, 100%. And so we basically went through all the phases of NASCAR and wrote out like probably 6 different emails, 6 different ways that this thing that she loved could be different parts of it could be connected back to what she helps people do. So it goes back to that perfectionism of not sitting there being like, oh gosh, well, if I don't have some like major big story to tell, then I don't have anything to say. Because in fact, what people really respond to are those like small slice of life moments. Those, that you have an interaction with somebody at the grocery store, something happens while you're out in the garden, just these little like moments, and they don't have to be big stories. Kind of the theme here is like this micro, these small micro moments, something you overheard somebody say, something you saw. They don't have to be these big drawn out stories. There's these like micro moments. And you also don't have to know how you'll use the story. So for this person that we talked about for NASCAR, we found some of the connections, but sometimes it's just starting to like list your stories, having a place where you can keep track of them. You don't even know how you're going to use them just yet, but that they're there so that when you are thinking about, is there a story I want to tell, you have a place that you can go pull them out from.
I remember when you first taught me this about the idea of capturing all your stories. And my Mac here is a mess. I've got 2,000 notes sitting in my notes app, right? So what I did, I went and got a different app. I got Microsoft OneNote, which is cheap, and I liked it because it let me create some folders. And I just started storing my stories in there, and it was dedicated just for this purpose, so it wouldn't get lost in the shuffle of all my other business stuff. So this little play, and you don't have to use it digital. You want to write it down in a journal, knock yourself out, but have a place where you're capturing this whenever they come up. You're in the car, you're driving by, you see something, the leaves are changing here in Michigan, and it's my favorite time of year. And in a week, all the yellow will be gone and it'll be brown. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but maybe I'll write it down. Maybe somewhere it will be a story about transformation that makes sense in an email, for example.
Well, for example, we have one of our rock stars in the society. They were bringing us some emails that they're getting ready to do a sale. They're a product-based business in November, and kind of like what their Black Friday is going to be, but some almost like pre-launch emails, like reminding people and getting ready for it. And that's where those stories are so awesome, because this person was sharing kind of something that they, love about October, like what happens, like similar to what you're saying, where the colors change and the leaves change. And it was just this like micro moment of being on a walk, seeing the leaves change and connecting that back to, and it reminds me that we're almost coming up on the season of, and then sharing, especially what happened last year with 2020, there's it's going to be a little bit more, we want to encourage people to shop early, is basically what this person was sharing. So we're actually going to do our sale earlier in November. We encourage you to do it. Stay tuned. So they were able to write a couple like pre-launch emails. And that's where the stories were so powerful. Instead of just putting yet another email that's out that's like, keep your eyes peeled for when the sale launches in the second week of November, it keeps people kind of engaged in a different way. Yeah. And it's not like the same thing coming in their inbox each time.
Yeah. And this is, I think, what will help you as a product-based business watching, listening in, differentiate from, I don't know, The Gap, Banana Republic, whatever, like all those emails that are in people's boxes. And it's always great. We are running yet another sale, the 10th this week. Well, people are in general, I'm not trying to slam these companies, but they probably aren't opening many of those emails. Whereas if you're sharing a little story, you are bringing me something that is entertaining me in my day. And you might get caught up on what I just said with the word entertainment, but truly the smallest things will make me smile. There are emails that people will write and they're just going through something in their day and it's nothing that special, but it just takes me away a little bit from my day, very similar to it might take someone away when they watch Netflix at night. It's the same effect.
Yep. And also, there's already people being like this is something that happens in the service-based world, is everybody wants to like jump to thought leadership. They want to like be like, doing the TED talk. They want to like jump here without understanding that most people like really create that intimacy to be able to like blow up and be known in that way. So like if from a product, like Gap and Banana Republic, like, oh, okay, but if I'm making a purchasing decision of a small business, which so many people are wanting to do and really wanting to gravitate towards. Like we went to the mall here in Syracuse and it was so depressing. Just change. It's like, it's just different now. I'm like, I don't like this life I don't want to shop this way. Then if you're coming in my inbox and you're creating a connection and that intimacy, you're going to stand out. So why would you want to be like the Gaps or the Banana Republic? They're these like huge corporations. There's not really like a humanistic quality, which we're seeing that kind of like phase out, that people want to make purchasing like, and I'm not saying you can't have some emails like this. So we were talking about with this person in the society, sure, there might be one because we've done some of these story ones then when the launch is happening, there may be a super short email that's like, hey, the sale is on or whatever's happening. We want to have a variety because there's different types of buyer personas reading our stuff and listening to our stuff. But there's a few different buyer personas. It's not just the quick, give me the button. So if you're not hitting your other buyer personas, especially if you're a small business, you're missing out on that connection.
Mm, that's so smart, Marisa. And it's quite similar to what I was emulating to in my group, where that pre-launch is where we are creating that intimate connection. And in some cases, if people have not been emailing, it's also helping get back in their inbox in a way that is hopefully making them sit up and take notice. And then it's fine to be more direct at sale time because that's go time.
Yeah.
But if you haven't done this work in like creating that intimate relationship before then, those sale emails will not have nearly as big of an impact. But I think the most important thing that you said was people are not necessarily wanting to buy as much from big corporations for a reason. They want to support small businesses because they know there's a human or a few humans behind that business. So open up about who you are as a human.
100%. We had someone else in the society who sells the planners, and there was, I want to get this right. So there was a back order on the planners. So this person couldn't even like do their normal photo shoot of like there weren't even any like images they could use of the updated of what people were getting, because it was kind of like on back order and they couldn't do the typical things that they were doing. So they're in the society like, all right, let me actually apply this stuff that Marisa's talking about that we do in the society. And she wrote a whole kind of pre-launch into selling the planners. There were no images of the planners because she didn't have them. She had her biggest launch she ever had, because it was really focused on why they would need this, telling the stories, also being honest and transparent about what, like that they were on like the back order and what was happening, and why you'd want to get in on it because of what's happened in 2020 and all these things. And they had we did a whole case study with her inside of the Copy Chat Facebook group talking about this, which is awesome. If you watch it, it's funny because I didn't ask her what her wins were beforehand, so I was hearing it for the first time when she shared it, which is just so cool, like the power of using these kind of micro moments and stories. Yeah.
I love her taking something that really would stress a lot of people out. What the hell do I do now? And being very scrappy, rolling with it and turning it into an opportunity rather than becoming an Eeyore, as you like to talk about, with this challenge.
And I will tell you, my hooker with a heart of gold, and I've really leaned into it this year. A lot of times we're so resistant to just like doing the damn thing. We are our own Eeyores. So people will sit in front of me and go, well, I don't have anything interesting, or I don't have, and I'm just like, and I'm sitting there like, okay, well, let's go through it, because I know by the end of this, we're gonna, and so if people can just give themselves permission to like themselves more, just like try it out. That's like the Tigger we talk about versus like the Eeyores. And people can get like such the Eeyores, but it's like how beautiful you have the opportunity to have your own business and sell something that you love, that you've created. Like, let's really bring ourselves to it. Like, let's just give it a try before we're hating on it. Sometimes we can all just like be haters of ourselves. I'm just like, stop being a hater. Just stop. Like, this shit works. I didn't make, I always say to be like, I didn't make it up. Like, storytelling is our oldest form of communication. It dates back to the Shobe caves in like 30,000 years ago. Like, I didn't make it up. It works. And actually, I was looking up this statistic that they were talking about in health.org, that and NPR was talking about this recent study where on MRI, like on scans, where storytelling, like you can see how it ignites these parts of the brain that get people to sit up and pay attention way more than they would just by giving them facts and figures. So like, I didn't make this up. Go look it up. Just Google the power of storytelling. Like, it works.
Okay. So speaking of sitting up and paying attention, I alluded to this a little bit at the beginning of our talk. I want to pivot one more time into pitching before we wrap this up. And what I want to explain to people really briefly is what pitching means, because you might not know. So a couple examples. You could pitch yourself, your business story or your products to the media, a newspaper, magazine, whatever, to feature you. That's one example. However, you could also pitch to another person about collaborating with you. For example, another small business brand. or maybe a brand that's a little bit bigger than yours, you want to reach and grow here, about some sort of collaboration, whether it's them wholesaling your goods or whether it's doing a giveaway together on Instagram. But that connection, the way you're reaching out, and maybe you haven't ever before, that's a pitch. And Marisa is brilliant at this. And it's your zone of genius. And I was wondering if you can talk about, for a product-based business owner who might want to do a collab with another brand, or might want to get a bigger brand to white label their stuff, something like that. What are a couple things they could do to make that pitch? So maybe their email, for example, snap, crackle, and pop, as you like to say.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. So first off, remembering that even if that's product based, like there's people behind this brand. So like there's humans behind this brand that we want to connect with. So if there's somebody that you want to reach out to do a collaboration with, so there's two things. Start before you're ready to do this. So if, when people talk about, oh, I've been cold pitched to, so Erica Learmark was somebody I've had on the copy chat. She calls the way that I talk about this, the red hot cold call. And what we mean by the cold part is that usually you've never seen somebody before and they appear in your inbox and they're like, hey, I want to do this collaboration with you. To make that pitch less cold and make it warm is actually to start before you're ready. So if there are people, brands, other products that you admire, before you're even ready to think about a collaboration, from a very truthful place, reaching out to them and saying, hey, Reese, I saw your post about this, about your product, and I really love this, and here's why. Or maybe you've tried the product and reaching out and saying, I really love this. This is specifically what it did for me. So that then when you do pitch them officially a while later, you're no longer cold in their inbox and their however you're pitching them, because they've seen you before and you can reference that. So this is what I've done, for the copy chat a ton, which is starting these relationships before I was ready to then pitch them. And then no matter if you're pitching and it's cold or it's a little bit warmer now, is being specific, really saying what you love about their product. Like, I mean, ad nauseum, like something super specific, not just like, oh, I love what you're doing in the world, but really getting specific to what you love about their products, their mission, down to quoting them. If there's a social post or something on their website or a product description that really stood out to you, like quote that. And then also share why what you want to pitch to them, whether it's the collaboration, how it's going to enhance what they already have. Sometimes what we tend to do is like say that, and then we go into all the awesome stuff about our thing. But we want to keep it as how it's going to enhance them, because we're selfish creatures. We just are like blame it on, like we just have huge egos and we want to know what's in it for us. So keeping it on, I really love this. I saw that you were talking about this. So for example, I was actually thinking about this. So I love this brand called Greetable. I use Greetable all the time to send thank you gifts for people from the copy chat. And there are these little boxes, and they open up and you can put a little gift inside, and it opens up and you can put little things around it. And I was actually thinking, and they're an awesome small business, by the way. I've used them so much. They sent me a Greetable thanking me for being such a great customer with a candle. There was a person who reached out to me. I was like, this is such a cool brand, and made me use them more. I was actually thinking of doing something else the other day. I'm like, no, I have to do Greetable. They sent me a candle. But I noticed sometimes, like, I was pitching them, they have a lot of cool like face products, like face oil and stuff, but I have really sensitive skin. So I don't always want to send, well, for you, Reese, they have tons of bath bombs, by the way. So a Greetable could be coming your way, but they don't have like a lot of face products that will say for sensitive skin. So if I wanted to send a face mask to another colleague, like I am thinking of that because my face is like sensitive. So somebody could pitch and say what they love about Greetable, and then say, this is why I think this could enhance the gifts that you have, as opposed to going in about, your awesome acne-free face mask that you have. Like actually how it's going to enhance what Greetable is already doing well. And trying to really, those would be like my top things to do there. But that starting before you're ready is huge. Is huge. Is to start to establish those relationships like in the off season.
Yeah, just slide into people's DMs. And I think in alignment with at the start before you're ready is give before you ask. So when you're going and you're sending them an email or sliding in a DM or making a comment, centered them.
Yep.
And it's not
100%.
like, hey, I wanted to let you know about my thing. It's, hey, what you said there about X, Y, and Z was awesome because of A, B, and C.
100%. And doing it uh, without expectation of what's going to come back to you, because it's either going to come back now or some way in the future. So in the society, we have these 6-post framework, like prompts to help you like write like different kinds of posts for social media. You can also use them for emails. And one of them is authority. So when we get to authority, it's like sharing your own authority, but also part of this is sharing someone else's authority. So every time you get to that, if there's someone that you like, send the DM, but also share their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for example, I'm such a huge fan of Tyler McCall. He's somebody I talk about all the time. He's one of my favorites. He just released the new season of his podcast after taking a 4-month sabbatical. And last week, he didn't ask me to do this. I just love Tyler and want to shout him out and know more good he's, that he puts out into the world. It's better for all of us. And I did like a quick couple Instagram stories where I was just talking about how excited I was about his podcast. I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm just shouting him out because I know that it's someone that I believe in, and that could maybe be, and it's already been a collaboration. He's been on the Copy Chat before, but it's just thinking in that way. And I will strategically think that way. When I get to the authority, because I use the 6-post prompts myself, I will think, okay, let me share someone else's authority today. Let me shout someone else out. And that if I go to pitch them for something, it's the 3 R's. They remember you, rave about you, and refer you.
Boom. Magical formula. You dropped a lot of magical formulas today, Marisa.
This is
and
fun, Reese.
Oh my God. I was taking notes up the wazoo when I do the write-up on this. But before we wrap things up, can you share a little bit? You've talked a lot about various things that you're doing in your business, especially the Copy Confidence Society, which is your group program, one of your group programs. And then you also have the Copy Chat, which, I'll let you talk. What's going on in your business, and where can people find you and like get your brilliance?
This is a great question. So the Copy Chat is a summit that I started. We've done 6 seasons of it. And the idea is that we bring together, 10 online strategists, copywriters, business coaches to all come together to each give you one doable tip to create copy that converts. And we've done 6 seasons. Right now, the Copy Chat is having its own butterfly transfer, like metamorphosis. So you'll have to kind of wait and see. But the Copy Chat Facebook group is a beautiful place. I go live in there every week. It's a great place to come and ask your copy questions and to see how people use their word closets, their personality comes alive as well. And as you shared, Reese, the Copy Confidence Society, it's our course and community that helps people uncover what to say and how to say it to write that personality-filled copy that dazzles. And our next round of the society will be coming around in early 2022, which is like, oh, that'll be in a while from now, but it's like, it won't be. It comes up so fast. And we've talked a lot about emails here today, Reese. And I think one of the things that can trip people up about emails is the subject line. And it's like, we can write the best email, we can do the stories, but if we don't have a great subject line, then that great email doesn't get read. So I created this really fun, it's called the 50+ scroll stopping subject lines. It helps you take that email from, meh, like maybe I'll read this later, to must read now. And there's some really fun formulas taken from Cosmo magazine. There's like full emails in there so that you can see how they connect. So I can pop that link into the comments as well. So between that and the Copy Chat Facebook group, there's a couple fun ways to think about your copy, even, in the ways that we've talked about today. So I will pop that into.
Pop the link in for the emails. And I have that she's talking about with the subject lines. And I will say I refer to it frequently when I'm stuck on what the hell should I do for a subject line. I will open that up just to get some ideas and prompts from Marisa's brain. So go and grab that. It's free. It's awesome. She popped it into the chat.
I still use it myself. Something else I've been obsessed with, just if people want to know, it's CoSchedule subject line analyzer. I've been obsessed with it.
Whoa, CoSchedule.
CoSchedule subject line analyzer. The only thing about it that I still differ from is that it will score you higher if you do like title case or sentence case. but I love a more lowercase. So just know that it's going to score you higher if you write in a traditional kind of like every letter is capitalized of the word, you
Mm,
know? But it's going to get your brain. It's really fun. If you use the guide combined with the co-schedule subject line analyzer, it's really fun.
cool. Okay.
Yep.
Marisa, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, the really tactical ideas that you shared, and also, most of all, I think helping people like themselves more and being willing to bring these parts of themselves that they may not have thought was worth bringing into their business in even the smallest ways. And I think that's one of the most potent things that you shared today. So I really appreciate you for doing that.
Oh, thank you, Reese. I love being here with you. And it's just always such a pleasure because you're so incredible at what you do, and just watching you just help people. And I got an email from somebody recently that was telling me they were in your community and how much they loved you. And like, because I was talking about you because, you know, you've been part of the society and have been one of our rock stars. And it was just so cool for them to say like how incredible and what a game changer you were for and have and continue to be for their business.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It's
Yeah,
kind
you're
of like it
welcome.
goes around like a big circle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Thank you, everyone who came and watched today, or if you're catching the replay, for catching the replay. I will see you all next week for another Talk Shop Tuesday, but I will sign off this live now. Everyone have an amazing week. Thanks, Marisa.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.